tuned in to your dose of positivity. I am Marlene Motivates, and as I always say, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
And to gain further support, join my channel membership. Hey everyone, I am Marlene. I am the content creator for Marlene Motivates. And on this channel, I talk about positivity, encouragement, mental support, and mindset shifting. You are welcome. If you're new here, I'd love for you to subscribe and become a part of the Motivators family. So, welcome to everyone who is live here today and those who are watching in the replay. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Welcome. How are you doing today? I hope all is well. I hope you had a great weekend and ready to start with this dose of positivity. Now let's see who is in the comment section. Hey Word, how are you doing? Welcome. Got a member in the house. I really appreciate you being here. What's going on? Hey Realist One, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Got a mod in the house. I really appreciate you all support. Yes, peace and light to the chat. I really want to come in with this topic, talking about making better choices, because I am seeing a lot of people now dealing with consequences of their actions. Some things that maybe that they did that was not the best choice to make. Okay. So, really, why is it important about the choices that we make? Our choices have an impact on us in many ways. Our choices impact us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, even our physical health has to do with the choices that we make. And if we make poor decisions, it will affect us in a way that's not good for us, because we're motivated over here. We know our power and we know our worth. So it means that we deserve to make good choices and to have a happy and healthy life, because that's what it's about. That's what's important. And the choices are no different. So we're going to get into, let's see, 5 points. Did I do five? 2, 3, 4. I have 7 points that I'm going to share with you guys today to talk about, making some better choices. Yes. Okay, so let's start off with point number 1. Before we go and we make a choice, do your research. Is this something that is good for me? Is it even something that I really like? because I can say before I was more experienced that some of the things that I felt like I wanted to do, it was only because of peer pressure, just because of looking at somebody and wanting what another person had. But once I did my research, I was like, I don't even like that. That's not even what I want. So make sure when you do your research, it's in line with what you want. It's in line with where you're going. It's in line with your focus and what you're personally about. The that shows our maturity. We don't want to just jump into things, right? We don't just want to jump into things full throttle and then later say, "Man, I should have waited," or "I should have not done that because that's not good for me," or even worse, it will impact us mentally or spiritually, and we don't want to have those sort of impacts. We want to make wise decisions because we're mature people. We want to make good choices, and I this is not something just for younger people. We tend to think that it's the younger people that need to do their research, but even us as adults, we need to research and make sure that the choice that we're about to make is a good choice for us. So everybody, do your research. Make sure it's good for you and your family, for right now and down the long haul. Okay. And if you guys have not already, please hit the like. I really appreciate it. It's really helpful for my analytics. All right, everybody. Point number two: to make some better choices, we have to ask ourselves why you are doing something. Why do I feel like I want to make this choice? Is it because of what? Ask yourself why. And when we ask ourselves that question of why we're getting ourselves involved in something, it will it will stem like, is this something that I want to do with all my heart, or is this something that I'm doing just because of vain reasons, just because I want to get a sort of status, or is it because this is going to impact me in a positive way? You have to ask yourself these sort of questions, and it's so important to do this because you got to get to the root of why you do things, because later on you don't want to say, man, I wish I would have paused just for a moment and relaxed and thought about it before I got into something that I later will regret. So ask yourself some questions, get to the root of it, and then allow yourself to make the choice that is good for you. I think that's an important thing too. When we talk about making choices, we have to make choices that is good for us. And other people in our lives may get upset, family or friends or the job or who you're in a relationship with. A lot of times, the choices that we make, they may not like it. They may not want that choice for us. They want us to do what they want to do because that's how they control us. But motivators, we're smarter than that. We use our intelligence in all aspects, the emotional intelligence, and we also use our mental intelligence, and we use our spiritual intelligence so that we can tune in and see, is this really a good choice for me? Ask yourself those questions, and don't be afraid to stand up and say no or yes to something based on what it is that you're trying to do, because choices have a big impact. And we think sometimes when we are given certain opportunities to do something for our life, you get somebody offers you something, maybe a better paying job, maybe an opportunity to go to school, maybe an opportunity to start your business, and you say, I'll do it later. And guess what? Sometimes that later never comes. So you got to ask yourself, is this the right thing for me to do something right now in my life? Or is it something that I can wait on? Or, only we can answer that question. And I think that's the most important thing. We have to know what we personally like and if it's something that we have to be on board with, because at the end of the day, we have to live with the decisions that we make. And I can say for myself, I used to want to always do things to make other people happy, but then I was left with the expense, or my credit got messed up, or I had to have the consequences, say like moving in with roommates, and then later on the lease is in my name, so of course they can move out, but I'm the one that gets stuck. So we really have to think about the impact before we go and follow through and do things. So let's get into point number 3. When we're talking about making better choices, is it because we want to be popular? uh, I see it all the time on social media. It's full of people who are doing all of these things to be popular. You know, people go and change their whole personality. They dress a certain way. They buy certain things just to be popular, or another thing, to be liked. We see that all over social media, and it goes into our families, it goes on the job, it's in relationships. All is involved in the choices that we make. But is it something that we like? You know, when we are going about and thinking about making choices for ourselves, you have to ask yourself, why am I making this choice? Is the choice something that I am on board with? Is it something that is within my personality? Or am I doing it to try to emulate another person? Am I trying to duplicate what somebody else wants because you want their success, or you want their friends, or this person or that person? And I say that because I see a lot of people doing things and they're not themselves. They're just doing things for likes and for clicks. And it's all over social media. People do those things and it's not even something they like, but it's more about being popular or being liked instead of being within your own value system. And it takes a person with a strong sense of being, they are in tune with their values, they're in tune with their spiritual side, and they know, this is not for me. I'm just going to be myself, and the people who will be on board with you will be on board. We can't make other people like us. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Or sometimes you could say fortunately, because not everybody is meant to be in our life. Some people not being in our life can be the biggest blessing for us. Yes, it can. I'm trying to tell you, I wish I knew this many years ago when I was a teenager. I wish I knew how important how much it's not important for people to like us. It's far more important for what you think about yourself. Do I like myself? Am I compromising my own values? Am I learning to embrace my uniqueness and love myself for who I am? See, sometimes we're trying to bend this way or that way. We're changing ourselves in order to be popular, in order to be liked, and at the end of the day, those people that you're trying to bend to, they still don't like you anyways. So why not just be yourself? No, it's just that simple. However you are, whatever your personality is, whatever is your value system, it's much easier if a person just relaxes. Just relax. Just relax. Just be you. Dress the way you dress. Talk the way you talk. Do the things that you do. Do the things that you like, instead of trying to be like other people. Yeah, I always say, like, this is not high school. And some people still have that mentality like they're still in high school. I have to do this to be liked. I have to do this for clicks. And some people, they equate their own self-esteem in how many clicks I get, how many likes do I get, how many views do I got, how many subscribers or people that is on my social media, when your worth, who you are as a person, is not wrapped up in your social media. It's not it's not it's not that we wouldn't want more people to be a part of our channels or whatever social media that you have. Everybody wants to have people coming to it, but you want the right people coming to you, people who are actually there for your content and not just people who are just clicking just to have people to start mess or to make trouble in your life. It's all about that. So it's so important that we make better choices. Very important. Yes. And we definitely not going to even attempt to force it. No. It's all about that. Hold on one second. I think my phone is ringing. Hold on. Yes, and that is so important. We definitely have to not force things in our life. We should never force people to like us. You should never force people. And guess what? The people that you're trying to force to like you will not. Because anything forced will never work. People have to like you genuinely. People have to want to be there for you genuinely. It's like you're trying to change yourself. You're trying to look a certain way or talk a certain way or have a certain type of status in order to gain people to come to you, and it just won't work. Those people will always fall off. You want people who are really there for you because they genuinely like you, because they like your personality, because they want to be around you, because they like your message, they like what you're about. See, you want the genuine, organic, and real people, not just people to just come around to get you to a certain number. No, don't force anything, everybody. Yep. You got to yell it out again, realist one. Act accordingly. Got to. Yes, everybody, please hit that like. I really appreciate it. I've been weird, never cared too much of anything that don't benefit me or the people around me. Yeah. I've always been a different person too, but I think when I was younger, probably my teens, I cared more about what people thought of me. But then when I got past it and I got into the real world and started working and having my own life and doing my own thing, then it didn't matter anymore. But everybody has their own walking journey. It's just the most important thing is just that you get there and know that it's not about other people and what they assume you to be or what they assign you to be or their opinion of you is. It's about what is your opinion of yourself. Yep. Yeah, you definitely do. So I just had to say it like a public service announcement. Stop doing things to be popular. It gets old. And sometimes you look absolutely ridiculous. People know when something is really you and it's really your personality, you're being true and organic. People could tell like a smoke screen, people putting on a persona, a character, whatever it is that you want to call it, and people know real, like when you're just being yourself. So everybody just be yourself. You feel better, you have more peace, you're less stressed, and the real people, then you're going to know people really came for you because you weren't putting on anything. You were just doing you and being you, right? I think that's what is important and that's what it's all about. Um, we're on to the next point. So you got to ask yourself when you're making some choices, how will this benefit me right now and in the future? How will the choices that I make benefit me now and in the future? a lot of times when we're making choices, we tend to think about our choices as being something for the future. But what about the impact now? You know, and I say this to parents, caregivers, grandparents, anybody who plays that type of role, is the choices that you make, how is it going to impact your family? Are you going to be taking away the precious time from them, where this is the very important time in their lives? You can't get those times back, even later when you may be more settled. So you got to think about, what is this going to cost me right now, and what will it cost me in the future? It's about our personal benefit. Not that we're selfish, but we have to think about, is it something that I'm going to want to do? And will it be something that I will want to continue? Those choices are so important when we talk about our personal benefits. How will this impact me? You know, and oh, it's going into the next point. um, you got to ask yourself, how will this impact me financially? When we talk about choices, we don't really think about the monetary amount that it will affect us, but it really does. Before we jump into making a choice of, say, buying a car, a home, moving, the certain jobs you get, getting some education, anything that is going to impact your finances, your pocketbook, you got to ask yourself, is this something that I can handle? We don't want to bite off more than we can chew, and then we're surrounded by all this debt, and then now you have more stress. Sometimes you're trying to benefit your life and you wind up hurting yourself financially and adding stress. So you got to think about things all the way through. Is this cost going to, how am I going to be able to pay it off? And how long is it going to take? How is this going to affect me? How will it affect my family? How much stress will I get from it? The impact of things financially is very important. And we can't gloss over a financial impact and not talk about, how we will be supportive of our families. We can't we can't go over this topic and not talk about how it can impact our families. See, when we talk about our finances, we sometimes in our families will choose to help our family. There's always one or two or many in a family that will expect so much from us financially, right? They expect for you to bail them out from their poor decisions. They expect you to do everything for them. Expect. And we have to stop that. We have to put an end to that. We have to speak up for ourselves. And it's not your job or responsibility to bail out your family. Just because your family, it is not your issue. It's not your problem. Every single person has to be an adult and carry their own burdens, their own finances, and take care of themselves. And I can say for myself, for a long time, I enabled people in my family. I really did, because I just saw that that was what I was supposed to do. And everybody demanded it, and I continued to do it. But I was miserable in doing it. So when I think about the impact of me, I was doing it, but I was doing it and miserable. Every time I would do something for them financially, would complain about it. So if you're not doing something and it doesn't bring you peace, or you struggle to do it, like, why am I even doing this, and how come, and all of this, we don't want to have that type of attitude, motivators. We want to be better than that. If you can't do something from a pure motive and do something without talking out of the side of your mouth, or even worse, if you're helping somebody with something financially, you don't have to go and toot a horn and tell everybody in your family and this person, do you know what I'm doing for them? That's not how we want to roll. We don't want to do that, motivators. If you do something for somebody, do it out of a pure heart. Do it because you want to. Do it because it's the right thing to do, because you can afford to do it. But don't do things and think that people owe you. You owe me now. and you got to do this. It's no, that's not the way to be. If you can't do something for somebody and just do it, and I'm doing this because I care about you, I'm doing this because I love you, I'm doing this because I can help you. If you don't do things in that way, then it's better if you just don't do it at all. Yes, yes. I hate that too. I hate that too. I hate when somebody does something for not just me, for anybody, and then they have to go and tell everybody, you know what I did? I just went and I just paid their light bill. I paid their water bill. I paid their rents. I did this. I paid their car note. I bought them groceries. Stay away from people like that. If you have people in your life and they can't do something for you out of a pure and a kind heart, leave those people alone. Leave them alone. You don't need them. There's always going to be a way made, a path made for you. You don't have to settle. You don't have to um, put yourself in a compromising situation. You don't have to compromise your values or your integrity. You don't have to have people make you feel this small because you need some help at a certain time. No, you deserve more than that. You're worth more than that, motivators. You truly are. Hey, Sirius, how are you doing? Got a mod in the house. I really appreciate you being here. Happy Monday to you. And if you guys could hit the like, I would really appreciate it. Yes, yes. I don't like that realist one or anybody in the chat. I don't like that. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. If you want to make Marlene really set off, do something for me and tell somebody else that you did it for me. I don't like that. If something is done for me, then that's between the two of us. And if I do something for somebody, that's between the two of us. I don't have to go and shout from, oh, I did this for somebody, or I did this for them, or they did this for me. I don't like those type of things. Keep things to yourself, respect one another. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do things for shine, and it can cause other people to feel embarrassed. You can affect somebody's self-esteem, because I'm telling you, it takes a lot to ask people for help. It really does. Well, I can't say for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. It takes a lot for me to speak up and say, can you help me with this? It's like I was like, swallow your pride. And then on top of that, when they finally help you, then you hear back, oh, I had to help her. I had to help him. That's not nice. That's not nice. And it's not kind. Let's stop doing that. We wouldn't want to get that. We wouldn't want to receive it, would we? How would you feel if somebody did that to you? Okay? Let's not do that. Yeah. Hey, puzzle pieces. Welcome. Happy Monday. Really appreciate you being here. Hold on. I got a sneeze coming. Oh, it went away. Okay. There's two types of people, those who do things from the heart and those who do it for the bragging rights. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that's just how it is. So, yeah. So let's think about, you know, when we are making choices, we really do have to think about how things are going to impact us in all aspects of our life. Okay. I think I have two more points, and then I'm going to put the link in the chat. When we talk about making choices, how do those choices that we make, what is it going to do for us? Is it going to cause me to have so much stress? Am I going to be like so stressed out that I can't sleep? I can't eat. Either I'm gaining or I'm losing weight. Is it impacting us, our spirit? Is it causing us to be angry and bitter? Or is it something, is the choice that we're making, does it bring us peace? Does it make us happy? That's the reason why we should make choices. Not all choices can be on that level where it brings peace, but we should never do things that is going to cause us to be under so much burden, going to be so angry. Or if you find yourself complaining about something that you're doing, then it means that it's not something that you want to do. Stop doing it then. You know, if you don't like something in your life, change it. Don't complain. Nobody likes a complainer. Nobody wants to hear the complaints. Either you do something about it or you stop doing it. So think about the impact that stress will bring to you. Yes, happy Monday to everybody. Yes, happy Monday. Yeah, and I didn't really think about how things really affected me until I start snapping at my family or my loved ones. And I had to ask myself, why am I taking out my stress on the people that care about me instead of channeling my energy to the people who really do deserve to get the brunt of whatever why I'm upset. So think about it when we make choices. How does it impact my family? How am I speaking? And is my disposition, am I calm? Do I feel good about myself? Do I feel rested? Or does this person aggravate me? Are you aggravated? Are you mean? Every time you see a certain person, does it make you feel some type of way that you just want to bam and hit them or do something? And this doesn't have to be always in real life, it can also be here on social media. If you have people that you tune in and you're watching, you are actually supporting them. So you made a choice to click on that channel or that stream. And if it's something that they stress you out, they drive you crazy, you don't like what they do, then don't go to it. See, it's decision making, making good choices that's good for your mental health. And I'm telling you that if you don't pay attention to the impact on your mental health will go, and you'll start acting crazy, talking crazy, snapping out on people. You'll be very unstable. So think about your choices and how they are impacting you, your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, or is it bringing you peace? If you have something or something you're watching or whatever it is, people that you're around and they're driving you crazy, life is too short to allow other people to bring you down. Never let other people have that kind of control or power over you. Take your power back. Take it back, motivators. You don't have to. Yes. Use our common sense and back away from a person or situation we're not fond of. Exactly. Protect your peace. That's so important. When making choices, we really don't think about, you know, what is going to affect. Well, how will it affect me? Does it make me feel good or does it make me feel bad? Does it does it or do they do things that embarrass other people, that cause you to look down on another person? You got to think about it, because if somebody does something like that and they do cutthroat things, underhanded, backstabbing stuff to other people, it's just a matter of time before they will do it to you. And it's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. If somebody does something to one person, in a matter of time, they will do it to you. They will. You may not think so, but mm, that's just how it is. And this is the last point. I'm about to put the link here in the chat for anybody who would like to come up and share any points that they have to make about choices. I put it in the wrong place once again. Put it in the comments. In the comments, not banners. Okay. All right. You have to ask yourself when making choices, is this the right time? Is it the right time to have certain conversations? Is this the right people for me? Is this the right time for me to do something? Because there are certain things. Hey, Jinx, journalist, how are you doing? Welcome. You have to ask yourself, is this the right time for me to do something? There are certain opportunities, right? Hey, James Money, how are you? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Happy Monday to you both and to everybody in the chat. Happy Monday. You have to ask yourself, when we talk about making choices, ask yourself, is this the right time for me to do this? Um, is this a good time for me to go through and do this, or is this something that I'm not going to be able to keep up with? Is it going to stress me out? Is it going to stress out my family? Can I afford it financially? How will it affect me mentally? How will this affect me spiritually? How will this affect my physical person? um, how will this affect my spirit? How will this affect my energy? um, because there's a lot of things that affect our energy. And if we are doing something and it's the wrong time for us, we we will feel like, why did I go through and do that? It wasn't a good time for me. It's not something that I really needed to be on board with. So ask yourself that question. Is this the right time for me to follow through and make this choice? Is this a good choice for me, for my family, for my finances, for my spirit? Or is this something that is going to stress me out? A lot of times, like you'll think about, oh, I think I need to move. I should buy a car. I should do this. I should do that. I should change my job, move, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you got to ask yourself, is this a good choice for me? I'm not talking about other people. You can see other people do whatever it is that they want to do. But is this a good choice for me? Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to pay those bills. You're the one that's going to be affected mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. You're the one, okay? You're the one. You. So you got to find out, is it this a good time for me to go through and follow through and do this? Because it's a good time. I can afford it. It's a good move. All of those things. Take all of those things into account before you go through and make your decisions. Timing is so important. We can want to do some great and amazing things, and it may be something that we like and even in line with our focus, but it may not be the right time to make this choice. It's all about choices, everybody, and we can always choose to postpone it, do it later. But also, I have to say that if it is the right time, don't drag your feet, everybody. Don't drag your feet. Don't make an excuse and think, oh, maybe tomorrow or next week or next year, because the next time when you want to do it, that opportunity is all messed up. Everything has changed. It's just not right, or it's just not how it was when you had that opportunity the first time. So I also want to say, like, don't procrastinate. When we talk about making choices and timing, when we see that this is a good time for me, I'm available, this is good for me, that is good for me, I can afford it, or whatever it is, then follow through and do it. Do it at that time, and don't think, I'll do it later. Later may never come. Unfortunately, that is the case. Later may never come. So I put the link there in the chat for those who would like to come up and share your thoughts. I'm going to do a recap here. When we talk about making better choices today, right? We talk about that and how important it is to make better choices because it impacts every part of our life. It really does. If we make poor decisions, then we suffer later, I didn't get into talking about, making better choices when it comes to who we choose to be in relationships with romantically, who you choose to have as your friend. All of that, it impacts our life. And if you make poor decisions later on, you're dealing with so much. You could be dealing with heartbreak or being used and manipulated. So if you think about, is it not just because you personally like them, but are they good for me? Do they treat me well? Are they respectful of me? That's how we know that we're making good choices and decisions for us, and not just going by our emotions, right? We have to do more than that. Yes, recap. Please, I'll watch earlier on the catch up later. Awesome. Jinx says, I seem to attract the wrong people. I definitely need better choices. Stayed single for now so I don't make a bad choice. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. People put, being single in a bad light. There's nothing wrong with having your own personal time, getting to know you, who you are as a person and an individual. And is this person in line with what I want? In line with my focus? Um, do they elevate me to make me a better person, or do do I are they like a relationship like they're my child and I have to take care of them like they're a baby? We don't want to do that. We don't want to just go and jump into romantic relationships just to say we're in a relationship. We want to say that we're in a relationship um, because they treat us well, because they respect us, because they're kind, because they encourage us to be a better person. That's how we know that we're making good choices. Okay. So, this is point number one. When we talk about making better choices for ourselves, we got to go back and do some research. Do your research, the internet is there for a reason, before you get into these relationships, do your research. Check on the background. Make sure that the person is who they say they are, you know, because unfortunately there's a lot of catfishing out here. With people trying to get certain things from you, take from you. So make sure that the person is who they say they are. And even in friendships, don't be jump so easily into calling people your friends. Look at how they treat you. Are they nice to you? Are they kind? Are they respectful? What are the things that they do to help you? How do they support you? How do they encourage you? Do they check on you? Do they ask you for help? Do they spend time with you? Or they never have time? It, or they're always busy, right? Do your research. Pay attention. How do they really treat me? You got to look at all of those things. I love being on my own. I do get lonely, but I have hobbies. Yeah, you got to know what is right for you. So, everybody, do some research and find out, is the person, friends, romantic, even on the job, do your research on people and make some good decisions. Make good decisions. That is very important. Choices really do matter. And point number two, when we talk about making choices, it's very important to get to your why. That's the foundation for everything, for how you move in everything in your life. Ask yourself why you're doing something. Is it because you want to please them? You want to please other people, or you want to seem a certain way to another person? Or is it because you feel that you have to, because you feel that you're the only person to do this for somebody? You got to get to, like, what are your intentions? What are the motives behind everything? How do people actually treat you? When sometimes people will try to force you to do something, but you really aren't on board with it, but because they constantly browbeat you, come on, do it, do it. I know you can do it. I know you have the time. Don't let other people push you and force you into doing something that you don't want to do. And it's not a choice that you want to make. It's not something that you're willing to do. It's not a person that you want to be in business with. It's not a person that you want to be in a relationship long term. Okay? You got to realize that it's better to say no now than to say no later when things fall apart. Mhm. Yeah. So you got to ask yourself point number 3. When we talk about choices, it's all over social media, right? About popularity and being popular, being liked. People do so many things for likes and clicks and to make themselves seem like such an important and special person when at the end of the day, those people aren't real. They're not. It's not real. Social media is not real life. I know that a lot of people will disagree with me, but social media is not real life. It's what you have right here and right now. It's the people who will actually spend time with you, who will pick up the phone and talk to you. Those people are the ones that really matter. Social media is here to entertain. You know, that's what social media is all about, to entertain other people. So ask yourself, are you doing something to be popular, to be liked? Is that why you feel you got to get name brand and shop at this store and buy this clothes and keep up with this trend? Trends come and goes. You can't keep up with the trends. Right? You could buy something and the next day that trend could be out. So don't try to keep up with trends. Just be yourself. Last week, I blocked a new acquaintance who I decided would not be good for me long term and was just about to use me. I would never have done that before. That's good. That means that you're really paying attention to how a person makes you feel and what is in line with your focus. And the more that you think about it, you have to ask yourself some key questions. How do they treat me? Do they appreciate me, or am I the person? Is it a one-sided thing, or do I do things for them and they do things for me? Every relationship, it's not healthy if you're not benefiting from the relationship. You have to get some benefits. We all have to benefit from a relationship, or it's time to drop them. So don't do things, everybody, to be popular or to be liked, to get certain clicks or views or whatever it is. It's not about the popularity. That's not the important thing. And unfortunately, some of the younger people are actually dying from making the choice to be popular. People are doing these challenges and all for clicks and likes, and they could die or they get some kind of physical harm or something happens to their family. So be very careful about social media and doing things for popularity, because all these people do is they click it. But at the end of the day, how are you going to be? Are you going to be okay? Did you compromise who you are? Did you compromise your values? Do you have to step on people in order to get some views? Do you have to embarrass other people, put other people down, paint your family in a bad light, or your friends, or the person you're in a relationship with? Do you have to compromise who you are for views and likes? Then it may be something you want to think about. Yeah, yeah. I think that that's so important. And now to this point, when we talk about choices, we have to think about how is it going to impact us? How will the choice that I make benefit me now and in the future? Am I going to feel better about myself? Is it going to cause me to have more peace, clarity? Is it going to help me to um, be better financially? Is it going to help me to work on my finances? Or is it going to cause me to lose and get involved in these get rich quick schemes, right? Got to think about the impact right now and in the future. That's so important. Thank you so much, Jinx. I really appreciate it. I remember the milk crate challenge. Those folks was, oh, they was busting their behind for nothing. Yeah, and I just saw something, somebody did one of these challenges and they got really sick and had to go to the emergency room and get their stomach pumped by, it was one of these challenges, like you know how like they do those really disgusting challenges where they eat all of these nasty things that don't go together, and they winded up getting really sick and had to go to the ER and get their stomach pumped. So I'm like, is it even worth it? So making that choice and filming something for some clicks, and now they had to go to the emergency room. Like, think, think, people, think, make good decisions. Yeah, you got to do things for your well being. Yeah, you really do. Yeah, I work over Facebook for a charity, so I have to log in, but now I log in only to focus on my work page and colleagues. I understand that. I get that. Yeah. So you got to think about how things will impact you right now and in the future. And if you find, for me, I had to tap into myself. And if I'm doing something, even this thing for social media, and if I find that it is making me feel miserable, it's making me feel sad, it's making me feel stressed out, then it shouldn't be something that you continue to do. You should, things should bring you peace. Things should bring you joy. It should make you feel good about yourself. It should impact others in a positive way. At least that's the way that I look at it, because I'm in a different realm right now. That if things don't encourage me or it doesn't encourage other people, then it's not on board with something that I want to do. Yeah. You got to think about those things and make better choices. I think I am. I got two more after this. And we have to also think about when making choices, how will this impact me financially? Don't bite off more than you can chew. If you can't afford to do something, don't try to show off and pretend like you have going on lavish vacations and buying the most expensive shoes and clothes and purses and cars and homes, and then they wind up coming and having to foreclose on it, or the repo man has to come and take your stuff away. So if you know that you cannot financially afford something, it's nothing wrong with saying, that's not for me. I can't afford that. I can't do that. It's not worth it just to get somebody to say, oh, look what they have. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And this point, will this stress me out mentally or bring peace? Hmm. We don't really think about the impact of things or people on us mentally until you actually be like, yeah, like this is driving me crazy. And it's certain people, or we're trying to do too much. Relax, chill out. If things aren't naturally happening, mm-mm, then it's just not working. So if something is stressing you out and not bringing you mental peace, it's time to walk away from that or certain people. Life is too short to be miserable. Life is too short to have people in your life that don't appreciate you, or people who aren't kind to you or respectful of you, or are not willing to spend time with you. You deserve to have people in your life that appreciate you, support you, understand you, all of those things. And if they don't, if these people are stressing you out, taking advantage of you, not don't want to spend time with you, you feel like all the time it's you that always has to put in all the work. Hey, let's spend time together. Hey, let's do that. Hey, let's do this. Or if you do something with them, it's like you always have to foot the bill. Mm-mm. It's not worth it. You don't need people like that in your life. It's not worth it. They bring you stress, not peace. And this is the last point, everybody. When we talk about making better choices, we have to ask ourselves: is this the right time for me? Is it a good time for me to do this? Is it in line with my focus and what I want to do? How will this affect me emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually, physically? How will this impact my family? Is this just right? Is it something that I'm even on board with? Is it something that I usually like to do? Is it in line with my values and what I'm about? See, don't compromise who you are for other people, because all those people will do is walk away and you're the one that's going to have a guilty conscience. I feel good about myself that I can stand up for myself and say, this is what Marlene is about. This is what I do. This is how I treat people. At the end of the day, I have peace. I have rest. I can sleep well at night because I know I treat people right, because I am respectful, because I am kind, and because I do good things for other people. So that's what I think it's all about when we talk about making choices. I'm going to come here to the chat. Yes, your decisions affect your tomorrow for sure. Making good choices in all aspects of life has helped me so much, and it does. We really have to think about how it impacts us and also how it impacts us in the future. Yes, I got rid of a family member who didn't bring peace, only caused distress and overall sadness, but I had to do it. And you have to. And it can be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a person in a relationship, it could be a job, anything that you feel like is more subtracting from your life than adding. If you don't feel some sort of addition, if you don't feel like you're learning something, you're benefiting, you have more peace, they're helping you to have a better financial impact or planning or something, or they don't, or they bring more joy to your life. If you don't feel that way, mm, 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 mm. No, no, and no. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So that's all for me here today. I thank you all so much for joining me today, and talking about making better choices. I definitely wanted to cover this topic because I feel like a lot of people spend so much time getting involved with, you know, making choices to make family or friends in their relationship, on the job, to show off, to make themselves seem like, oh, I have so much, I'm doing so good. And actually, they're struggling, they're in debt, they're miserable, or they're not happy in that relationship. Be your true and organic self. Okay? Be your true, pure, and authentic self. That's the most important thing about this life, is that we learn how to make our own self happy. It's not about other people. If you have people in your life and they're always taking from you, using you, manipulating you, playing mind games, there's no time for that. We're mature over here. We are mature. You're mature and you deserve so much better. Oh, hold on. I see Nexie backstage.
Haha, you thought I was gonna let you go just like that, huh?
Yeah, I was. I was like, oh, I'll say, okay. I'm about to hop off. Okay.
Hi, Marlene. Hi, chat.
Oh, I'm doing okay, Jinx journalist.
You got a
Yeah.
cold?
I No, it's the same thing as allergy
Allergy.
season.
I know.
Yeah.
It's going around. It's awful. I think all of us are suffering from that right now.
Everybody. Hey, Nexie.
How you doing? What are we talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about choices, making better choices.
You, you know, I was just I think I was reading the news earlier. You said something about the challenges, those TikTok challenges or whatever they are, social media challenges, and a little boy passed away. I think a couple of days ago, from eating a super hot chip or something. They challenged him to do so, and he passed away. I think he was only 14 years old, and it saddens me that you know they're seeing all of this, and as parents we need to be more aware of
Oh, I think your mic went out, Nexie.
what our children are,
Yeah. As
you
as
know.
yeah, as parents and caregivers, you have to pay attention to what your children or family members, and I can even add to that, older family members like your parents, what they're looking at, what they're involved in, because they can be very vulnerable with these scams.
Exactly. And I think that it comes down to, how right now we're trying to be, well, not we, but I should include myself in that because my kids are older, but a lot of parents are more friends than they are parents to their kids, right? Um, and they're not checking their social medias. They're not checking backpacks like I used to do with my kids. And they're not involved. They don't want to like cross those boundaries, but you're the parent, your job is to cross those boundaries. Your job is to make sure that their backpacks, there's nothing there that they can harm themselves with. The door of their rooms, make sure that it's open. They cannot be on locked doors doing who knows what. You have to be on top of everything that your kids do. And yeah, I might have been a helicopter mom, but I have healthy adult children, and that's the whole point of being parents as our kids grow up, so that as they get older, we have a little bit less to worry about. But these parents nowadays, and I'm saying, I work with them, so I know firsthand what it is. They're not really supervising the kids the right way. That's how I feel, and it's my opinion, not Marlene's.
Yeah, and I will say that, a lot of times you get a lot of what I'm trying to think of the word. You get a lot of backlash from other people when you're that type of parent or caregiver, checking everything, and oh, and I don't want them to be around this person. But you really do have to follow, your mind when it tells you, like, I don't really like that, my kid around this person. Or I like, how come my mom or my dad is on the phone all the time with this person? You have to watch your family and your friends, anybody who is in a vulnerable population, kids, special needs, older parents and family members. You have to watch it, because not all the time they make good choices.
Exactly. And my kids, growing up, and again, I'm going to go to my kids because, we're talking about this right now. But with my kids growing up, they were growing up in the era of technology, right? Where computers and video games and all of that was popping. Is the cool kids saying that? Oh, I'm not supposed to say cool because I'm too old to say cool. But those things were popping up. So my job, it was to make sure that as soon as they logged off, go through everything they were watching. Making sure that they were not in sites that were not for them, right? So everything came down to us as parents. not to the kids, because again, they're kids. They're following trends, they're following their friends, whatever it is their friends told them at school. They want to try to see it, see in the internet if they can find it. So we had rules. When we first started, they had the dial-up internet. I don't know if you
Oh yeah, I
remember.
remember that.
Yeah, I used to, at 9 o'clock, that thing will be unplugged and cry or complain. And, when I'm 18, I'm moving out of this house. And I was waiting for that 18th birthday.
It never
Myself.
happened.
It doesn't, Marlene. It doesn't. But I was on top of my kids, and it is aggravated. As a parent, sometimes it's so tiresome to be telling your kids the same thing over and over and over. But again, they are children, they're kids. We're the grown-ups. We're supposed to be on top of it. And as far as extended family is concerned, there's a reason why my kids weren't allowed to be around certain people, right?
Mhm.
You know who those people are. They
Mhm.
have no filter, they have no restraints, so you have to be careful on who they're around with. That was my job. If I knew that, like, let's say my in-laws were coming and say, hey, can we take him for the weekend, and I knew that that household was not appropriate for my kids, I didn't care if that was family member. No, you're not. They're
Mhm.
okay here, they're gonna have fun here. Why don't you leave your kids here for a change? It might be better for them.
Right.
So you have to control all of that, and it's in your hands. It has nothing to do with your child, because you're the adult, you're the grown up.
You do. Yeah, you have to make the choice for the betterment of your family and your children. Hey Eastad, thank you so much for being here. And always Tam Tam, thanks for coming in. When I talk about, making better choices, it's not something for me. I'm just speaking for myself. It was hard for me to make choices and to say no to people, especially people in my family, because I was a person that I always wanted to be liked, you
Mm,
know
mm-hmm.
and I had to admit that for myself. Like I'm mature enough to say that's where I was in my life at that time. I was more involved in making my family happy than my own happiness, and you can't live that long in that space.
And that is something, again, Marlene, that is learned, right? It's something that even if you're not comfortable with, um, you find a way to learn to say no, whatever way that is. You have to work on yourself. You have to, talk to other people. Maybe other people have to tell you, girl, you have to stop saying yes. What the heck? We had plans this weekend. Now we have to cancel because of you. Nobody told me that about you, Marlene. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes you have to learn how to say no to certain people. And it's not something that you do overnight. It's a process.
Oh
Because
no. Oh no, Nexie, it's not something now, but that's how I used to be
no,
before.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, and it's a process. Now you can easily say, nope, I'm not doing it,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna make me. Yeah, you can do that. But before, but what I'm saying is, you have to, for your peace of mind, right? For a better outcome of how you want to live your life, you have to learn sometimes to say no. And were brought up like me, in a family where we all help each other, right? If your cousin comes over and asks you for something, you have to say yes, because that's your cousin. How
Yeah.
can you say no?
Always have to
How
say
dare
yes.
you? Yes, exactly. So in a family like that, it's nearly impossible to learn to say no to someone. And I understand, because I grew up in a family like that. The difference between, I guess, you and I is that I had the ability to, um I had my dad's backing. Like, if he saw
Okay.
that I was uncomfortable with something, that I didn't want to say yes, I didn't want to say no, that I was in the middle, my dad will come up with something if he was around. If not,
Okay.
then I was stuck with saying yes, I'll watch them. Oh yes, I'll do it. Okay, I'll go
Hmm.
with you. But other than that, and then as I got older and I didn't have my dad anymore, that's when I had to start working on myself. And that's when, through therapy and everything like that, all of those things that um, I was afraid of because of the repercussions of, I thought they were going to have like huge repercussions if I said no. All
Yep.
those things you work out and you see that they're not such a big deal. And then you start
Yep.
seeing how many times that person said no to you, Marlene. How many times have that person said no to you,
Yeah.
right?
But you can't say no to them. No, and then remember, I don't know if it's ever happened to any of you, but when you say no to that person for the first time, they're like, "What? And
Yeah.
did you say
Uh-huh.
like, huh?" I was like, "I said no. I can't."
How can you do that to me? How can you do that to me?
Yeah, and I
I
said,
said,
"You say no to me all the time."
that's what I said. Well, let me count. I think it's been 235,
Yeah.
36. Last week, one happened again that you have said no to me.
Yeah.
It's a made up number, but just to give them perspective of how many times
Right.
they have said no to us. Now,
Mhm.
putting boundaries on people for the better of you, I think it's something that I taught my children to do because nobody taught me to do that. So
Mhm.
I make sure that they knew that if something they didn't like, something they didn't want to do, someone made them uncomfortable, they could say no. Nothing was
Mhm.
going to happen to them. They were going to be okay.
Yeah.
No.
I think the same thing. I think in our generation, I think anybody who is like 30 and up had those issues with the setting boundaries and saying no, and because you just didn't do that because you were just raised that if it's your family you always say yes. And when I got older I found out that that was toxic, that was dysfunction. Every healthy relationship you have to say no, I can't.
Funny you say that. Dysfunction. That it was dysfunctional for you to say no. But if you think about it, it is actually, as you start working on yourself, right, with your therapist or whatever, you learn that saying yes all the time is dysfunctional.
Mhm.
It's the opposite of what we grew up with.
Yeah.
It's not normal to
Yeah.
always say yes. But in our families, that is embedded in us that we have to say yes all the time,
Yes.
because, and I don't even know why we're supposed to say yes. It's just a custom, I guess, that you follow.
No, I think it's a little bit of we enable our families, but also that we feel like our families are this higher standard than ourselves. Like our families mean more to us than we mean to ourselves. When
Hmm.
I was going to therapy, that was like the first time I had ever said that to myself. Like my family mean is more important, is on a higher level than myself. It was like family and then me, and I was like, when I said that out loud, I was like, I was like, that it's not supposed to be like that, but that's how I was operating. That's what choices I was making. Because if you can't say no to your family, then you have a problem.
Exactly. And I remember too that, and again, it goes back to the way we were raised, right? Because everything that we are and that we are not, in a way, it is because of the way that we were raised. And
Mhm.
I remember that, and this is me when I was very young. I was younger, like probably like 7 or 8. I remember there was a commotion in the house. A lady had come to the house, talked to my father. She had asked her brother for money or something, and the brother said no. So, or he couldn't for whatever reason, but it was a problem kind of in those lines. And everybody was in uproar. How could he? I cannot believe he said that. He's such a this, he's such a that. And that stayed with me, thinking, I maybe subconsciously thinking that I had to say yes, or they were gonna think that I was like that brother of hers.
Yeah.
So you hear all those things in your family because some of the adults don't have the ability to talk about things like this, not in front of the children.
Right.
They do it like that, and it impacts us, which is why I always say, Marlene, watch what you say around kids. Be very, very mindful of what you say, what you watch, what you do. And I am so happy also that, you're doing the same with your kids. Always making sure that they're not around people that will taint their good upbringing.
That's just what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's no other way to look at it. And yeah. So this has been an amazing discussion. Thank you so much for coming up. I don't know if you can stick around. Are you going to stick around, or are you dropping down?
You know it.
Okay.
No questions asked.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates. For inspiration, positivity, life lessons, and self improvement. And like I always say, just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the dose of positivity. Bye bye, everybody.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me, I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you?